The program at a glance is very unique program because it went into power back in April 2013, originally as a pilot. What was important to then at that time is quite recently, diminished program for investors, for federal investors, they call it, which was literally the last program for passive investors. The remaining part was in power in Quebec, in province of Quebec only for another, let's say, 9 years, and then it was demolished as well. So before 2013, there was another program, and sometimes people looking back and they confuse about that and in a big way, because it was entrepreneurial program, and people sometimes saying, well, am I entrepreneur? Yes, you are. So they presume that they fall under entrepreneur standards, and then reading something about the past entrepreneur program, which is completely different from this one. And why we like this program? Because this program was launched with everything we needed at the time to be corrected from past programs, both actually investors program and entrepreneur program. So is it perfect? No, it's growing program. And if you, I always joke about it, if you see the 5-year-old child, it's still learning, still absorbing the environment and trying to be the best. So that's exactly what's going on with this program. I mention this because sometimes people come into me and saying, Dr. Alex, why they implement this new rule or this new detail about the program or new requirement? Well, because they learn as we go as well. And by they, I mean IRCC and Immigration Canada. So as I mentioned a couple of times already, it became a permanent stream between August 2017, when they assessed what's going on, and the decision was rather positive. April 2018, this program is in place as a permanent stream, and basically now after 5 years, they put it under review, and common sense prevailed. And good news, first good news today is that program is still ongoing, and there is no prospectus of being shut down or changed significantly. So we announced this with proud feeling that we defended the program, and definitely those who work with us see how diligently we follow every rule of the game, and the program is unfolding as we speak. But the good part, it's still ongoing, and there is no closure on horizon, which means we can now enroll new people and work with new teams and bring more new, fresh, innovative blood into Canadian economic stream. So before we start talking in details about Canadian program, honestly, I think it's worth to mention that it's not unique for countries around the world to have startup visa. And sometimes people, again, trying to assess Canadian program from the perspective of what they know about the program, if they came across this program in any other country. The variety is huge, different requirements, different settings, different what we call basic fundamental principles of the program in terms of participation, financing, investment, personal details of the applicant. But overall, the unique feature of Canadian program is rather exceptional. Only in Canada, people allowed to apply as a team, which makes it A, affordable, B, less intrusive, because obviously we're talking about the team, we have to prove how they know each other and what they do, but they can apply as a team, and it's easier to handle certain tasks of the business development, of innovative application development or product development, basically everything in business. You know, the old rule, it's easier to handle if you're not alone. So every other program more or less focus on individuals, and that's where we definitely need to notice that only Canadian program has that privilege, which people use to the big extent, and we see probably unique opportunities for people, because sometimes, only sometimes, we see individuals applying as a solo applicant, and sometimes it helps them to have partners. Basic requirements are also remains, and let me just run through very quickly. Very low, minimal, I would say, language requirement at CLB5 level. I personally call it show up test. You just show up there. If you have beginner language, or let's say intermediate language ability, you can pass it easily. Just be there, pass the test, and present us with materials, and you will be okay. Minimal sufficient settlement funds are also on a list. But I always remind people, you are in a business program, but guess what those minimal sufficient settlement funds requirements are? They are the same as for students, workers, and other categories of regular immigrants. So when people complain that they cannot satisfy that minimal sufficient settlement funds requirement, I always point to poor students, hardworking people from all over the world who would like to land in Canada. They have to provide the same settlement funds. So it's worth to notice that you don't have to provide enormous net worth as it was required under entrepreneur program, or even now self-employed program, or even under any other program, like investment program. And no one will ask you about proof of funds, which is very critical, by the way, as people having trouble to, well, not only maintain but support the origination of their funds. Designated organization support, obviously, on a list. That's fundamental, because without support from designated organization, we will cover that separately, you cannot proceed into PR, into permanent residency. That's a fundamental part of this program. Educational requirements, practically none. If you have high school, you can be qualified. I always point at dropouts from universities like Mr. Gates or any other what we call tech gurus in the world. So you don't have to have high education. If you have it, as a plus. It explains how you prepare yourself for this particular step in your life. And if you can prove that your original education contributed to creation of innovative idea, that's a plus. Same goes with business experience. We have so many students who apply because they just don't want to go the regular route. Maybe it's too expensive for them to study for 5-6 years, try their luck on the job market, especially in a downturn economy. This actually gives them a chance to apply through startup visa program if they have innovative idea, or at least innovative mind, and then we help them to proceed. And obviously it comes without any business experience whatsoever. If you have business experience, it's a plus. Innovative idea, know-how, we will talk about that separately, but yes, you have to have something in your mind that we can consider innovative, and like a little seed, we will cultivate it and we will bring it to surface in the best possible way together. Qualifying business venture will be created in Canada, usually created before we actually go through certification, because we want to have solid foundation for people's success.